Chapter 17. Emmanuel King sat alone in the meeting room. The heavy door creaked open and in walked Rachael. She moved slowly as if each step required deliberation. Her frame was hunched, her face gaunt. The sadness she carried was visible in her posture, her swollen eyes, the listless way she lowered herself into the chair across from him. She didn't say hello. There was too much grief for chit-chat. Emmanuel had seen anguish in many forms, but this one was raw and unfiltered, shaped not just by loss, but by guilt. She was still spiraling and nowhere near forgiving herself for what had happened to Edward. He reached into his leather bag for his Mac, acknowledging to himself the fact that there was still no signed consent form. Without it, he couldn't legally act on her behalf. He didn't have time to wait. "Rachael," he began gently. She didn't meet his eyes. Instead, she stared somewhere past him, as though searching a distant place only she could see. "How are you holding up?" Emmanuel asked. She gave a slight nod. It wasn't much, but it was more than silence. "We need a strategy," he said gently. "But before that, I need to understand more about you. Your background, your life, everything." He paused. "I have a case file for Marcus, but I need to hear it from you first." She didn't respond. Her eyes remained vacant, and Emmanuel tried again. "Tell me about yourself. Start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?" Rachael wanted punishment, not defense, but then Rachael remembered Edward had asked for her to be defended by Emmanuel, and even if she believed she didn't deserve redemption, she couldn't dismiss the last request of the man who loved her to the end. Edward had hired Emmanuel. She owed it to him to respond to Emmanuel. After a long pause, she finally spoke, her voice soft and flat, as though reciting someone else's memories. "I was born in Port Harcourt, Nigeria." Her accent thickened slightly on the name of her hometown, grounding her in a past she had spent most of her adult life trying to escape. "I have an older brother. My parents, they've passed." "Is your brother still in Port Harcourt?" he prompted. She nodded, but didn't elaborate. "Tell me more," he pressed gently, "about growing up. What was your childhood like?" Her body stiffened. She clenched her jaw. It was the first real sign of emotion he'd seen since she'd sat down. "What do you want to know?" she said sharply. "That I was born? That I grew up? My brother is back home, that's all." Emmanuel jotted something down, noting the resistance. "Did anything happen to you growing up that might help me understand? Anything I should know about?" Her eyes snapped up and blazed. "What do you mean, did anything happen? What kind of question is that? What are you suggesting?" Her voice cracked with fury. However, she wasn't just triggered, she was terrified. He raised his hands gently in peace. Okay, I'm just trying to understand. Anything you tell me stays in this room, but if there's something in your background, anything at all, that could help us understand a bit more about you, who knows, it might help your case." Her voice dropped an octave, bitter now. "There's nothing to help with. I took a life. Edward's. Don't you get it? I don't want to be free. I belong here. This is justice. I deserve these walls." Her hands spread wide as though embracing her cage. "How am I meant to live without him, knowing I'm the reason he's gone?" Her eyes were wild now, desperate for punishment. "I don't want help, Emmanuel. I want to be left alone. I deserve the bars. It's justice for Edward." Emmanuel swallowed the lump rising in his throat. She was breaking, and in her brokenness, she was trying to atone. "Edward didn't want that," he said, his voice low and steady. "You know that. It's why he brought me into this case. He wanted you to have the best defense possible. You owe him that much, and to the baby. If nothing else, honor his final wish." She turned her face away, stubborn and hollowed out. "I don't deserve mercy," she whispered. I don't deserve mercy. I killed him. Emmanuel waited, let the grief have its space. She was spiraling now, murmuring to herself, tears spilling down her cheeks. He waited until the silence returned. "Tell me about your relationship with Edward," he asked softly. "Were you engaged or just—" "Engaged," she echoed, a bitter smile as she twisted the black rubber band around her finger. Her voice softened for the first time. "Actually married." He blinked, stunned. "What?" She looked up and met his gaze fully for the first time. "Yes," Rachel responded simply. "When?" he asked. "I didn't see it in any of the notes." "When I went to see him in hospital," she responded. Emmanuel sat back slowly, absorbing the news. "His nurse, Florence, was our witness. Not the way I imagined it, but—" she nodded in affirmation. "You both were really married?" "Yep," she said. "He was the love of my life. I am going to miss him so much. I wish I could turn back time." They both sat in silence. Rachel watched him closely. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "What do you get out of this?" He lowered his pen. "I'm here because everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Edward believed in your innocence. He believed in you. He specifically asked for me. He wanted me to represent you." "I didn't deserve him," she said simply, "and he didn't deserve this. I don't know why I did it. I don't know what happened to me." Emmanuel passed her a tissue, his voice kind. "Life doesn't always give us what we deserve, but we work with what we're given. You're still here. The baby is here. You have a chance." He reached into his folder again and pulled out a document, her consent. "You need to sign this, Rachel. This tells the court I'm your representative. If you don't, I can't help you." She stared at it like it was a weapon, then looked at him. Something hardened in her face again. The shame, the self-loathing won. "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves. It is the gift of God." Ephesians 2, verse 8.